Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Heat number 2 of the Fountain Pen tournament. Today's heat, we've got the HongDian N8, and that's going up against the Monteverde Ritma. Two pens that look actually about the same size, but we'll see as we go through. So join me now down on the table. We'll take a look at the pens, we'll do some size comparisons, weights and measures, a writing sample. I'll give you my thoughts on these, then I'll hand it over to you to vote for the winning pen. Welcome down to the table and heat number 2 of the Fountain Pen tournament. Today's contenders, we've got the HongDian N8 and we've got the Monteverde Ritma. Two very different looking pens, aren't they? We've got this beautiful white colour here of the N8. Some silver inlays there. Then we've just got this plain, very industrial look to me with the Monteverde Ritma. Let's take a walk through the bodies. We'll start with the N8. So at the top here, we've got like, I'm going to call it a jewel. And then in there, there's a little engraving. I think this is the right way up there. A little engraving of a little, I'm going to call it a chick. Hopefully the camera will pick that up for you. We've got a silver band onto which is attached the clip. The clip, very stiff, hardly move it. Cap itself, so we're tapering out until about halfway down the clip. Then it seems to go straight. And then on the cap, hopefully you can see we've got this beautiful engraving here. These silver flying feathers. Also on here at the top, we've got here the words flying feathers. Near the bottom, underneath that flying feathers word, we've got that chick again. Then on the band, very hard to see, we've got HongDian, then N8. Very difficult to see, very small print in there. We then have a noticeable drop off. Although it's starting to taper down with that silver coloured band, there is a drop off down to the body. Body, to me, is tapering all the way down till we get to these pair of silver rings. This isn't a blind cap, it doesn't move, it's all part of the same unit. And then we've got a silver bottom. Looking here though on the body, slightly translucent, so as I turn this around, at parts you can actually see through to the converter. Can't see the converter precisely because there's still some opaqueness to it, but you're aware it's there. The cap, half, one, about 1 1/4 turns to take that cap off. This reveals a white section, so white to match the rest of the pen. Seems to be ever so slightly concave, just slightly going in. And I'm really looking for it, that's why I'm seeing it. We've got a silver ring at the bottom, no lip. The way it's made though, my fingers fit quite nicely there. I hold my pens down near the bottom. The nib. This is a HongDian nib, very attractive nib, quite a lot of business to it I would say, there's lots of engraving. We've got since 1997 and we've got HongDian. And as I've already said, this is a cartridge converter. There we go, there's a converter in there. We'll look at the Monteverde Ritma now. So very different looking, similar size wise. We'll look at size comparisons in a minute. Top, we've got this gunmetal, I would say, grey cap. This is concave, you can feel it going in. You can actually see it going in slightly. Hopefully I can catch that in the light for you. We come down, we've got this metal clip. Again, this gunmetal grey, very tight. All metal cap, same width all the way down. No engraving as such. All we've got here is Monteverde USA Ritma. I don't actually think this pen is made in the USA. I believe it's made in China, but Monteverde is a US company. So it is Monteverde US. It's not actually saying it's made in the US. There's a seam that I can feel between the cap and the body. Although they are both the same width, it's very sharp feeling. I can feel that rubbing against and catching on my finger. Got this beautiful olive green colour. This is the 2021 limited edition. This comes all the way down. Near the end, we go in, again we've got this gunmetal coloured end. What that's there for is to post. Now this cap is magnetic, so I'm just going to go ever so slightly and going to tap here. You see how it catches. Same happens on the other end. Slight tap and it catches. So the cap, as we saw, pulls off. That reveals a metal section. The metal section, same width all the way down. I find this section quite slippy, so I have to be really thoughtful with how I've got my fingers positioned and make sure they don't slide off the end. Would have been nice if there'd have been maybe a little lip, but I'm being extremely picky here. The nib on here, this is by Yoho, so made for Monteverde by Yoho. It's black. Is it I can never remember the name of it. I think it's ruthenium coated to give it that black colour. So there we go. We've got some nice engraving on there as well. Couple of quite nice looking pens. Let's do some size comparisons. We'll start with my standard comparisons, the Pilot Metropolitan, the Lamy Safari. All these pens have got a nice width to them, so they are actually quite snug against each other. All the pens very much similar in terms of length. The Metropolitan is slightly narrower, but lengthwise are all very similar. Let's take the caps off. With the caps off, this time the N8 slightly shorter than both the Ritma and the Lamy Safari, and about the same length as what we're seeing with the Metropolitan. Big difference really between them all is the nib. The nib on that Metropolitan is small, where the rest we've got number 6 size nibs. Oh, we've got that Lamy nib. Let's swap on over and we'll look at some pens in roughly the same price range. The pens I've brought in the Kaweco Sport. I'm showing this posted because that's how it's designed to be used. The Kaweco Sport, it's 41 Aussie dollars. We've got the HongDian N8, 41 Aussie dollars. We've got the Monteverde Ritma, 92 Aussie dollars. We've got the this is the Schuylkill Porpita Navy, 92 Aussie dollars. So I've managed to get some good matching pens. As I say, pocket pen, designed to have that posting. Looking at them all though, the N8, definitely the smallest. The Ritma, slightly smaller than what we're seeing there with the Schuylkill, and definitely both of them small. In fact, all three pens smaller than that Kaweco Sport. Let's pop the caps on them. With the caps on, just look at the Sport, but we've got to bear in mind the Sport is a pocket pen. That's what it's designed to be like, so got no problems with that. The other pens, the Schuylkill, yeah, a little bit longer than both of them. Let's swap on over and fetch in the rule of measuring. Here's the rule of measuring. First pen, the N8. So with the cap on, we're looking there at 13.7 centimetres. Unposted, about 12.3 centimetres. Posted, that comes in at 16.3 centimetres. The width of the cap, 1.49 centimetres. The width of the body, 1.35. And the section goes from 1.1, which is about here, up to 1.16 centimetres. Now the Monteverde Ritma. So with the cap on, we're looking there about 13.6 centimetres. Unposted, about 12.9 centimetres. Posted, 16 centimetres. The width of the body is 1.3, and so is the cap. They're both the same width. And the section, all the same width, 1.2, just slightly smaller than the body. Let's swap on over and we'll fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. So the full pen, 29 grams. Body alone, 18 grams. And the cap, 13 grams. With the Ritma, 49 grams. Definitely a heavier pen. Body, 34 grams. Cap, 16 grams. Remember, there is some ink in both of these. Let's swap on over and do our writing sample. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Here's the notepad of testing, black and red, A5 notebook. This is Oxford optic paper. We'll start with the N8. So we've got here, before I start, I'm just going to fetch in this. This is from my Galen leather notebook, just to rest my hand on. It's fairly warm here, which is bears in mind actually for the writing sample because it affects drying time. Current temperature here is about 31 Celsius, which is about, what is that, 88, 89 Fahrenheit, something like that. So we've got here a HongDian N8. This has a medium nib. I've got to be honest, it's one of the nicest nibs I've got from a Chinese pen. Price wise, 41 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Robert Oster, and it's royal red. Nice red colour. I love this colour ink. Drying times, we go immediate. 10 seconds. Almost dry there. I'm going to do 30 seconds. I think it may be pointless though. Oh, still a teeny tiny smudge. Not worth doing a 1 minute test though. Let's look for line variation. See, here's no pressure. Here's with some pressure. A little bit of railroad in there, but slightly wide, but that's because of that extra pressure. No pressure with, none with, none and with. I'm going to move the mic down to the page to right to centre. Final test. This nib is exceptionally smooth. It's one of the few things which I don't like about the nib is it's too smooth. Other than that, it's such a nice writer. Did have a little bit of an issue here on the Q for Queen, so that's something I need to look at. I don't think it was me. I don't think it was how I was lifting, but it could maybe be how I had the nib oriented, so it didn't quite make enough contact. Puts down a nice line. It's very consistent. As I say, we've got that one issue there, but I normally don't have any issues with this in normal writing. So that's the HongDian N8. Let's move the page up a little bit. There we go. And we'll write with the other pen. So this is the Monteverde Ritma. So we've got Monteverde Ritma with a broad nib. Feels very stiff, especially compared to that N8. Price wise, 92 Aussie dollars. So about double the price. The ink is by Robert Oster. And it's Australis tea. I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not keen on this ink. It's just too light for me. If you like pale unsaturated inks, I think this is nice. I think that first little bit on the where it's got Monteverde is nice, but it's just too bright. It's just too yellowy for me rather than green, which is what I was hoping for. So I'm not even sure if I might even throw what's left in here down the sink. This was just a sample. I'll see how I feel after I finish this video. Drying times, so we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. that one dry at 30 seconds, so no need for the 1 minute test. Let's move the mic and write the sentence. Now the scribble test. Nice weighty pen, a lot nicer line that goes down. Just the ink is what's letting it down for me. But when you're trying to judge this, please don't judge it based on this ink. It's just the fact this is the ink I've got in here. And, you know, I like to try and challenge my choice of inks from time to time. And this one, it's definitely a failure. These are two nice pens. I like them both. We're going to start by looking at the pen looks. So pen looks for the N8. I love the simplicity of it. I love, we've got this little bit of an interesting nature. We've got this little bit of silver coming through. Draws the eye a little bit. Gives it a little bit of visual impact. It's nice. I like the white. I like the cleanness. Very similar comment though here for the Monteverde, for the Ritma. It's very simple. It's very industrial looking though, where the N8 is a little bit more artsy looking. You know, this is something, if you saw it in a factory, you wouldn't think it was out of place where you would with the N8. Very nice. I like this olive green. I was really pleased I got that. Build quality. Can't complain about either of them. I've had the N8 a little bit longer than I've had the Ritma. Used them both quite heavily. Ritma, little issues. I forget that it's a pull-off, so I start twisting this, which does start unscrewing the section. Little tiny issue, you know, that's a Gary problem, not really a problem with a pen. Don't like the magnetic. I say this with virtually all my magnetic pens. Not that I put pens in my shirt pocket, but because there's a magnet there, if you've got something like a pacemaker, you've got to be careful about magnetic interference. You'd be a little bit hard pressed to safely put that in a pocket. Whereas with the N8, you'd have no problem. Both of them cartridge converters. I don't think I showed the converter, did I, on the Ritma? There we are. I'll just quickly show that. There we go. Had no problems with those. Build quality, yeah, both very nice. Like them both. Writing experience. Let me just fetch in my Galen leather notebook. This is getting fairly full now. I might have to buy another one soon. This is 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. So HongDian N8. Got some nice shading coming through on here. Very consistent, very nice. When I'm doing my pressure test, like we got today, get a little teeny tiny little bit of railroad in there. So be careful putting too much pressure on it. But yeah, it's nice. With the Ritma, again, I don't like the ink. It's way too light. Very personal thing. But on here, it does look nice. You know, we've got some shading in there. It does seem to dry slightly darker than it looks when you're writing with it. So it gets more of that greener look. Whereas when I'm actually writing, it's got more of a yellowy look. And we can see that here. You know, we do seem to have gone a little bit darker as it's dried. So writing experience, again with both of them, I like it. The nib on the Ritma does feel stiff. That's one thing I will say. It's a Yoho nib. There we go again. Not sure if the light's catching that very well. But it does feel fairly stiff compared to the N8's nib. Ink flow, no issues. As you can see, we had absolutely no ink flow problems. That little teeny bit of a problem here. I'm putting that down to the way I had the pen oriented, although I can't 100% say. Comfort, both very comfortable pens to use. The N8, just about perfect for me in terms of length, in terms of width there. I'd have liked to have had a teeny little bit of a lip here, because I do think sometimes my fingers will slip over the end and onto the nib. With the N8, with the Monteverde, love the weight of this. The section, this metallic section, is slippery. That's one of the things I have already noted. Again, could do with having a lip here to prevent my fingers from slipping over the end. Being very picky there. I don't mind that the section's actually quite short. That doesn't bother me because I hold my pen's fairly low down. It's just the slipperiness, which is what the issue I have there. Value for money? Well, to be honest, the best thing I can say for both of these, for what you're paying, you're getting a good, solid, consistent, quality piece of writing equipment. Both nice pens. Both seem to have no QC issues. Both write well. Both are very, very nice to use. So value for money, I would say they're both very good value. Bearing in mind, the Ritma is more than twice the price of the N8. And both, I believe, are made in China. So over to you. Time for you to go on over to my YouTube community page, where you'll find a poll to select the winning pen. Only votes made on that community poll are the ones that count. You can put comments. Please actually comment. But if you put a comment on and you put in there, I want this one to win, that won't count towards the end result. It's only the items on that poll. The poll will stay open until Sunday morning next week. And then in the YouTube live next Sunday morning, that's where we'll go on over and I'll announce the winner. So these are my thoughts on the HongDian N8 and the Monteverde Ritma. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on these pens? Which one do you think should be the winner? To vote for the winner, head on over to my YouTube community page. That's the only place where the votes will count. Please drop any comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, well, it just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.